All right, welcome to another edition of Truth Seekers. We have our guest today is Jacob, along with Coach Nick and myself, Coach Josh. Our conversation today is finding the floor of simplicity. We like to have this conversation because the opposite of that is the ceiling of complexity. We can get so busy in our lives, either in the corporate world or our professional uh, experiences, our personal lives. We have so much going on with texts and emails and phone calls and people and children and aunts and uncles and cousins that it's hard to stay focused on the things that are truly important to us. So we have an interesting guest today in Jacob, and maybe I can ask him about some of his personal experiences with what he has going on, his plan to exit potentially the corporate world. I hope I'm okay saying that, Jacob, but why don't you tell a little bit about yourself and all that you have going on?
No, absolutely. Thanks for having me. First off, like Josh said, we've chosen a different route. My family and I, we're normal city slickers, if you would say, and found ourselves wanting to get out of the city. And you go to restaurants or even just anywhere nowadays, you see kids on their iPads and their iPhones. And we were starting a family and didn't want to have that as a lifestyle for our kids and wanted them to know what work was, responsibility, not the instant gratification that everybody in society is looking for these days. And we started to go on the route of looking for land and be able to provide for ourselves, et cetera, be self-sufficient. And then once we had our first kid, Ford, who's almost two now, he has a lot of food allergies. So that kind of kicked us in high gear and was like, hey, we need to know where our food's coming from. Chicken, eggs, soy, fish. I mean, you name it, he's allergic to it. He probably has 12 safe foods right now. So now that we're getting into this whole allergy thing, we want to make sure that we know where everything's coming from. And that's kind of what jump-started our lifestyle. So a year ago, we decided to buy a 25-acre farm and been running ever since there. In the daytime, I work for a company doing ballistic solutions, which is also a hot topic right now. So we provide security for schools, businesses, athletes, et cetera. So it's kind of a good little mix of corporate world and country living, I guess now is how we're gonna say it. Kind of off grid. Eventually, is kind of what we're looking towards getting to, being self-sufficient, solar, et cetera. Except everybody still needs internet to work these days, though.
Yeah, so maybe I can ask, so how are you keeping everything straight? How do you focus on what's important at that moment in time?
It's really I got this big book of wishes and dreams, and I was able to pile it up and figure out what makes sense in terms of what we need to accomplish first. So as soon as we got here, it's an old abandoned horse boarding facility that nobody lived at for 10 years. So we needed to, well, in my opinion, we needed to start getting animals because that was our biggest thing. We wanted to start producing from our farm. So before we had any type of infrastructure ready or any of that, I went ahead and did the go ahead and go do it. So I bought chickens without having anywhere to put them. So my wife will argue with me now, but that's kind of how we've managed to keep moving along. I'd buy animals and be like, hey, we need to make some fencing. So we start off with chickens, then we got goats, then we got an alpaca, then we got cows, then we got sheep. So now we have about 160 animals, and
Wow.
we just had baby calves recently. So I mean, we've been moving forward in the right direction. We got pigs. So we're in the startup phase of getting these animals and then we're breeding them and going to keep reproducing. So that way we can actually start to harvest our own meat. So right now, the only things that we've actually harvested ourselves, we had a great garden for not doing anything, all organic, no till. So we're kind of keep without all the sprays and all the chemicals and everything. And then also with our animals as well, grass fed, no antibiotics or any of that stuff too. So we're just pushing along and learning as we go. Thankful for YouTube and a lot of people having content out there to help us out because we have no idea, but we're still in the startup phase. So we've only actually had our own rabbit meat, and we actually will be butchering chickens this weekend. So for the first time, so we're starting the process of actually having our own supply of meat finally, which is pretty exciting to actually do. So we're pretty excited. And then we have a lot of plans for this off season with winter coming up and a lot of breeding happening currently that hopefully will in a couple months we'll have some new babies running around on the farm.
That's fantastic, man. Thanks for sharing. It's so cool. 160 animals?
That's a
That seems
lot.
like a lot.
Well, we probably have about 100 chickens. So, I mean, if you add that in there, that doesn't really count. But our mornings are basically, in the mornings, my wife takes the kids out and they feed all the animals and water them. And then, I mean, after that, I mean, there's not really much work in terms of animals. Like, you feed them twice a day, just like you would your dog, just on a bigger scale. But then also, I mean, we free range all of our animals too. So they're all in fencing, but they're all free range across our 25 acres, which is pretty cool.
Wow, that is pretty cool. That's
So
pretty cool.
we're still clearing out land and working to get towards that goal of self-sufficiency. But we have a lot going on. We want to add more animals, which is kind of wild to think about. But next year we have our pigs going through a lot of the land right now. So we're actually tilling up, using the pigs to till up the land for the gardens next year, so we can have a bigger garden to share with our community.
Self-sufficiency and action for sure. So then if we can tie this back to our subject today about the floor of simplicity, like how did you leverage that? Because that part is to get to that point. Once you get there, it's like it's flow, it's freedom, because you can just see so clearly what's in front of you. And it's so difficult. And it's one of the things we work on most is getting people out of that complexity, like the tyranny of the urgent, running from one thing to the next, being so busy. Like what did you do to get to that point where you allowed yourself the space to create what you have now?
It was really just actually, everybody has these ideas that they want to do, and they're like, oh, well, let me wait till next year. Let me wait till I'm retired. Like my parents, for instance, were like, hey, why don't you wait till you're 45 and then move to the farm? And I'm like, well, how am I going to do all the work that's needed when I'm 50 years old and can barely move around? So it was really just us defying everybody else, and turning everybody's to wait and to just actually doing it. I think that's one of the biggest things, is to actually take that leap of faith and actually follow your dreams. I mean, I think Elon Musk says, he's like, I mean, you can turn your 10-year dream into 6 and do it in 6 months and see what happens. And I've been blessed with work that I'm able to work from home. So I mean, that's kind of helped out. And this whole coronavirus going on right now has kind of put us in a good place to where we're actually supplying other people with eggs, for instance, right now. Like we can't stay in stock of those, and then everybody else, I mean, just reaching out to us and following what we do, and we've been able to build a big community around us to help us. I mean, we have people out here all the time volunteering to come help us, and everybody likes to get away and realizes that, hey, you don't have to be going to a brewery every weekend. You don't have to go out to dinner every night. Like, I think a lot of people with this virus and pandemic going on, everybody's realizing that there's more out in the world than what everybody's been used to, of going out, doing this, doing that, and actually getting out in nature. And mental health's a big thing right now. And like you said, being able to simplify everything is kind of what we've been able to do here. In setting up a routine, I think, is another big thing that simplifies your entire life. If you could stay on, like our kids, if they're off their routine, I mean, it's a whole nother story. We might want to leave that day, but I think in those terms, I think that's what we were able to do. I mean, we just decided that we were going to do it, and we didn't know how we were going to do it. Like I said, we had no, I mean, we've been watching YouTube videos for a year prior. We visited 50 farms. And we just pulled the trigger. We're like, hey, this is the one. We actually almost bought this house the first year when my wife was pregnant with our firstborn, and the timing wasn't right. And we decided to wait. We let people talk us out of it. And then once we realized his food allergies and stuff were a big thing around 6 months, we decided, hey, we're selling our house and we're moving, getting out of here. So we made that leap. And you put a lot of hard work into it. You wake up early and you stay up late at night, and you're going to get to your goals. And that's kind of, you just keep on keeping on is what we've been able to do and accomplish.
Yeah. The biggest, I don't know about you, Coach, but the biggest thing I heard there, Jacob, was like, you just decided.
Yep.
It's like, I just decided we're going to do it. Like, we'll figure it out as we go along. Yeah, we need to have routines, like, yeah, and we don't know what we're doing, but there's resources out there. It's just a great representation that, like, you don't need to know how before you do it. In fact, it's not about the how ever. It's about the decision. Like, I'm going to do it no matter what. There's a reason. You had like the purpose to do it. It's like you need to do it because your son has allergies, right? Let's push it forward. It's so important that to get the what and the purpose behind it, and then you just figure out the how.
Absolutely.
That's it, right?
Yeah. To me, so the floor of simplicity here is just, it implies making complex situations simple. And to Jacob, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the simple is just doing it, like getting it started. because the rest unfolded as it should after that. There's always reasons or excuses not to do something. Too much of this, too much of that. The fear of, owning your own property, being self-sufficient. How are we going to figure out what to crop, what animals to grow? There's all these things that could prevent you from finding that floor of simplicity. But it was more of like almost like an internal guidance or a compass that you knew this is something like, so correct me if I'm wrong, the allergies with your son, like everything was in motion even before that happened though. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say, we always had like the idea of, we've traveled a lot. I've got moved around a lot for work. So we lived in New Orleans, Scottsdale. We've traveled a lot. We knew we wanted to live in Charlotte. That's where our family's from. We wanted to come back here. So we did, what everybody's supposed to do. You move back to your local neighborhood where you're from. You buy a house in the suburbs, and you live there. And then we just got kind of uncomfortable with that. We do a lot of backpacking, hiking and stuff while we were traveling so much. And that was something that we love nature, and we wanted to one day, that's one thing that we're going to run out of is land. And I was like, hey, I would love to own some land. I would love to have animals, and never thought it would be where we're at now. But that's kind of how we figured it out. And then finding out our son had allergies, and then realizing that our next kid does have allergies, and our next kid will probably have allergies the same way. And it was just like, hey, we need to get ahead of the curve before we're doing this. Like, we want them to still get everything that every other kid's getting, but also enhance their lifestyle, learn responsibility, learn to not be on your phone 24/7, and actually have some type of life besides what we're doing currently on talking to each other right now. But just at a different level, a lot of instant gratification. A lot of kids are trying to be a lot of parents are trying to be their kids' friends now. And we actually want to parent our kid, or be actual parents to our kids and be friends, and actually figure out that family dynamic that a lot of us are falling apart from. We want to have a big family. We want to be able to grow. And I think our lifestyle can influence other people to want to have the same type of dreams, and realize that you can do stuff like this. And it's not necessarily just farming. I mean, there's plenty of other people out there that have plenty of business ideas that are sitting on the fence right now. Like, hey, I wish I could do this right now, but I don't have the money for it. I don't have the time for it. And hopefully it'll push them just to take that leap of faith and figure it out. Because once you start, I mean, how are you going to stop?
Yeah, it's almost like, and Coach, I'd like to get your thoughts on this. Whether it was conscious or not, like the simplicity is taking the action, knowing that there is that vision, and that as prioritization, I guess, is what it is, right? Knowing that that's the goal, that's the vision that Jacob has set up for himself and his future family, and the rest kind of fell into place. So making it simple was, well, what's the number one priority? Well, it's getting started on this farm and moving in that direction.
Yeah, it's a reminder that we only get our musts. It's like we only get what we tolerate, right? And for you, Jacob, is like, well, I'm not tolerating this anymore. That things must be different. I must have this, and it's like you get that laser focused. That's think about it. Like if you're in a high pressure situation, like I must look after my family in this situation. Like there's people coming to like break into our house, or there's a chance you might get attacked in the street. Like you're going to do whatever it is that you need to do to get to where you need to be in a safe spot, right? You just get laser focused, like nothing else matters. Nothing else matters, right? And so you get to your result, you'll get to your outcome if it's a must. Right? And I think that's just such a powerful lesson for anyone. It doesn't matter what it is, just decide it's going to happen and move in that direction. And it may not be exactly what you thought it was, but you'll be in a completely different place. And from that spot, you can take new action.
I can't agree with you more. I mean, fake it till you make it, and the dream's free, but the hustle's sold separately. So I mean, I agree with everything that you say there. That's kind of the mottos that I live by here on the farm, especially. Every day's a new day. It has its new challenges, but if you got that hustle in you, you're going to be able to figure it out regardless.
Yeah.
I'm
curious, Jacob. So what are some of the new challenges? What are you facing today with all that's going on?
New challenges right now. I mean, so we obviously have we have 3 cows that just had calves recently. They're about 2-3 months old. And we're in the process of November's coming up. We're waiting until November. We're going to actually butcher our own cows for the first time. So that's kind of our next, what we're working on right now. We're trying to set up a butchering area on our farm, so a butchering station. and also a cold room to keep all the meat frozen and or actually cool and curing it, and a smokehouse. So we have a lot of different projects that we're currently working on building to prepare for us to actually harvest our first round of beef, which will be pretty exciting. I think we're going to butcher 2 of them and keep one of the moms and get her repregnant, and then raise the other. We got two baby bulls and a baby heifer that we're going to raise up, and then we'll eat the 2 bulls, and then keep the other heifer as well as a breeding stock is kind of what our next challenges are. We actually, I guess next weekend we're supposed to be butchering chickens, so that'll be the first time we do that. So we're looking forward to actually having our own chicken meat. Chickens are my wife's favorite animal, hands down, and probably everybody's favorite animal when they come down to the farm, just because I guess you don't see them all the time. So I mean, every kid, every parent, every adult, every teenager that comes down, they just want to hold a dang chicken, and it blows my mind because we have baby goats, baby sheep, puppies, like all this, and everybody just wants to pet a chicken. So it's interesting. But so we have there's always a lot going on the farm, and nothing ever works out the way you want it to go, and there's surprises that pop up every day, but it keeps life interesting and keeps us excited to do what we're doing. And I mean, it's truly become a passion of mine to get this farm going. I mean, hunting season's coming up, so it's the first time we're going to be doing some deer hunting this year. So getting ready for that. That's coming up as well. Bow season's right around the corner. We just had dove season start last weekend, so that just happened. So there's a lot going on the farm that we're not used to, in the lifestyle that we're used to living. So there's a lot of different stuff that we're learning from the people around us that's coming to fruition recently. So we're pretty excited about just life in general. I mean, it's so exciting waking up every day, going on our morning. Like, we wake up at 6 o'clock every morning. We just go walk around the farm and just to walk and take in the beauty of it. I think a lot of people take for granted of just this life that we actually have and the earth that we live on. And I don't think a lot of people get the time to take in nature and reset their reset your day, start your day off the right way by just taking a walk and drinking some coffee, or whatever your morning routine is. I think that I think a lot of people need to realize that, hey, I'm alive today. There's a lot there's a lot of bad stuff happening, but there's a lot to look forward to. We're in the United States. I mean, everybody has that American dream, and that's different for everybody. And we're living our American dream right now, and hopefully we can keep pushing forward and start making some money off the farm instead of just living off of it.
Thanks, Jacob. I have a client who is in a similar position to you, just a little bit further down the line, I think. And I went to visit his farm, and we did a workout together, and with him and his son. And what struck me, and he's about the same amount of space as you, I think. And what struck me was, like, look, it works now. Like, it's great now. Like, he's doing 2 things at once as well, but it works now. Like, it has something coming out of it. They're enjoying it now, but there's so much more opportunity, right? And you could just completely be immersed in that experience forever, right? And it just gives you some of the things you were just saying. It's just like, it ticks so many boxes. Like, it allows you to get out in nature, teaches your kids hard work, allows you to get out there and do some physical exercise, but doing it when it's productive, like teaching people how to and creating community, because the people coming to see it, and you can live off it, right? So it ticks so many boxes in it. I think it's just it's really important. So thank you for doing that.
No, it's been a blessing. And like you said, something like, once you check one thing off your list, you're like, oh, let me add 4 more. That's a great idea. I just finished this. Let me do this, and this, and this. And then next thing you know, you're looking at buying more land, and you're expanding and all this other stuff. So, I mean, I never thought that we would get so deep into it, but now, I mean, it's really a lifestyle that we've come to love and enjoy. And then seeing our kids, I mean, our son's almost 2, and he's already walking, doing all the farm chores for us. He can tell us which way to go, what to do. And he legit does every single thing that needs to be done every morning and night. And it's cool. And I can't wait to see him grow up in this atmosphere that we've been blessed with. I mean, we're lucky. We have a pond, we have a creek. So, I mean, we've been able to play in the water, fish and stuff like that too. So it's been a great experience, and just seeing it from their eyes and their experiences makes it even more enjoyable.
Fantastic.
What resonated with me, and we can start to come up with our takeaways here for the group. Just so simplicity is the topic, but the simplicity of just getting back to touching base with nature and getting in touch with all the good things that are happening. we did a new normal a couple weeks ago, Jacob, with a guest of ours. We were talking about, you know, COVID and all the pain and suffering that has brought, but at the same time, all the opportunity for some new things, some new habits, and it's just that appreciation, like slow everything down. That's basically what that floor of simplicity is. When we're up against that ceiling of complexity, whoa, like let's prioritize some things. What's important in my life right now that I need to make number one priority? And if it is a number one priority, why am I not doing it every day or often? Maybe I could be doing it more often. So from what you're saying, just like get back in touch with what the reason that you're doing it for, just the beauty of the land. And, you know, now it has purposes for your kids and all that. Just appreciate, look around, take it all in, because, you know, like you said, you're living that freedom out. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. Find your passion and figure out how to get towards that and make it work for you.
Yeah. Nick, how about you? I've taken several notes here. I'm sure you got some stuff over there.
Yeah, it's just the principles that come back and back and back and back. It's like, okay, make a decision. I'm going for it no matter what. And make sure it's something, because here's the thing that you said it a couple of times, and you just said it actually just then, Jacob, passion. You've clearly got passion about this. It's not just something I've got to do because my children have allergies. Like that you get a lot from it as well. And so that's the daily drive along with the purpose drive, right? I'm doing it because, like all the catalysts almost, I'm doing it because I know it's gonna be great for kids. There's something in it more for you, right? Because it's a daily, I get this passion. That's what gets you up early and keeps you up late, right? So there's the simplicity of just knowing one outcome, one vision, this is where we're going. And then the simplicity of just being driven by your passion every day, and all the stuff in the middle just gets worked out.
I can't agree with you more on that. I think if you find it, you know, you're going to enjoy doing whatever that is that you like doing, and you need to make sure that you are doing that one thing, because like I never thought I like hard work. I've always liked being outside. I like working with my hands, but never thought that I would be doing what I'm doing now. And it's just crazy that you be open-minded. Our lifestyle is completely, we went from country club to the country. So I think that's the funniest way to put it. And it's been an amazing thing. And I wouldn't take any step back. You know, I've been healthier. I lost 30 pounds being out here working. Mental health's been better. Family's been better. You know, bringing our community together, all our friends coming down. We have an annual pig picking every year, and just being able to bring that sense of community back. And that's kind of one of the biggest things. I'm a people person, and I think just having this platform that we have now is going to be able to bring a lot of people together, even if it's not here on our farm. Social media, going to farmers markets, going to conferences, and all that stuff. I think. It's definitely turned into a passion of ours that we never would have thought it's going. So, definitely take that leap of faith and do whatever you need to do to get to that goal.
That's awesome. Pursuing that passion, making complex things simpler. Jacob, what's maybe one piece of advice you'd give somebody? Either, you know, it could be they're thinking about starting their own farm or pursuing any passion. What would be a good piece of advice?
Yeah, I would say write down your reasons of why you're going to do it, and why not, and just start crossing all those why nots off. Find your solutions for those why nots. That's kind of what we ended up doing. Was like, hey, we're having a baby. Hey, we want more kids. Hey, we know nothing about farming, and it was just like, all right, well, we know nothing about farming, so let's do some research. We're having a baby. All right, that's a perfect place to raise a kid. We're going to be out here. He's going to be running around barefoot in his diaper, blah, 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 blah. So, I think it's really just write down your whys and why nots, and figure out the solutions for your why nots. Why not go ahead and start breaking those barriers down and actually do it. There's solutions out there for anything you want to do. You just got to actually want to put in the work and want to put in the time to do it.
And to your point, when you do that, when you're intentional about it, the why nots, then you can kind of come up with some solutions. Love it. Coach, anything else? Any last words?
Just thank you very much, Jacob. Really appreciate you sharing that. I'm sure that you've been an inspiration to a lot of people that are listening and watching, and you'll continue to do that and help the community. So I appreciate you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you next week.